자, 온게임의 스타링을 제외하고서 국내 모든 e스포츠면은 다 마지막에 힘들었습니다. 그리고 지금도 진행 중이요. 힘들고 있어 아직도. 하지만 온게임의 스타링은 아직까지 그 자리에 정상의 마지막에 못 떴어요.
예. 그런데 참 쉬운 일은 아니네요. 24강에서도 16강에서도 마지막 선수 힘겹게 올라왔고, 그리고 8강, 4강 하필이면 또 같은 팀 선수를 계속 만나고, 8강은 그나마 토스죠. 같은 팀 테라는 전통적으로 모든 저우에게 힘든 거예요.
자, 변형태 처음 올라가는 결승의 기회겠습니다만 목해 왔을 때 꽉 잡아야 돼요. 결코 마지원 이건 이호준 이건 남에게 내줘서는 안 되는 겁니다.
Alright, this is going to be a test commentary, as this is the first time I'm actually narrating something. So let's see how it works out. On this occasion I have picked a game between sAviOr and Iris. This is the semi-final Season 1. And the reason I picked this game is firstly because I hate this fucking map. Because I personally think it is a shit map that made for a lot of boring games, and I'm really glad it is now out of the tournament structure. As you can see, Iris starts up here down at the... let me see. Okay, I need to figure out how I can full screen this while narrating, which it won't let me do, which is really annoying. Okay, so obviously sAviOr started down here at the 7 o'clock position, and Iris is playing Terran up at the 1 o'clock position. This was actually a great series, and I think this is the closest someone came to actually beating sAviOr during the Season 3 OSL, which was the last OSL that took place. So, okay, at the start we've just got Iris putting up a supply depot, and sAviOr is going for his usual 12 drone before making a few hatcheries. As you can see, he's popped an Overlord there, and it's just spamming drones at the moment. sAviOr also has this thing where I found that he always scouts in a counterclockwise direction. He always sends his Overlord counterclockwise. So, and you can see he's done that there. And therefore he's not going to find Iris with his first scouting Overlord. He sent his second Overlord now northwards as well, which is in the direction of Iris's base. And sAviOr has now set up a hatchery at his expansion at the 9 o'clock, just above his base. And he still hasn't started a spawning pool from what I can tell. Iris too is fast expanding, which was really the only option on this map, and I think it really severely limited the amount of strategies with most Terrans being able to fast expand. And I think this is really a Terran turtler's heaven, this map, because of the difficulty of any sort of rush and of scouting. And you can see sAviOr with his 3-hatch strategy going again here. He's put up his 3rd hatchery at the expansion to the right of his main. Iris meanwhile building... Oh, sAviOr finally starts his spawning pool, as well as an extractor to get some gas, so he can finally start taking up, going for the usual fast layer spire after the 3-hatch. Iris obviously making his barracks and supply depot as well after he stood up the command center. The interesting thing about this matchup, and the reason I picked this particular match to commentate on, is because it shows to me, first of all, the gayness of this map. It also shows to me the typical mistakes which Zerg often makes that ends up getting them owned against Terran. And it's very easy to get complacent on a map like this, where you've got kind of neutral buildings that you think are going to protect your base, but they go down very quickly under sustained fire when they do go down. And Iris here see building his academy, so that will give him the ability obviously to scout and find out exactly where sAviOr is and what he's doing, as well as start up his Marine barrage. sAviOr's Overlord now has found Iris. Obviously, we can't tell from that whether or not Iris has seen the Overlord because of the higher ground factor. So it might very well be that sAviOr is aware of where Iris's base is, but Iris is not. And you can see there that sAviOr has started up his lair tech. I also don't like this map because it's quite fucking boring, to be honest. You know, people, and you can see there Iris has put up a second barracks, so he's going to be pumping out, and he's starting the third barracks now, so you can start pumping up units quite quickly. As I was saying, you can see that this is a pretty fucking boring map. We're about 4 minutes excuse me, into the game, and nothing has happened, because nothing can happen, and so this is a map which while you may think it encourages longer games, I don't think it does. It just encourages more boring games, and limits the number of strategies available to players. So you can see that Iris is now building his comsat stations, and he's started taking down the neutral at the entrance to his base. He's also started up his engineering bay because he knows that the really only thing a Zerg can do to possibly harass him is to build a spire. And obviously you can see here he's scouted with the comsat, and he's found sAviOr's spire building in his main. And Iris has got his medic and marine group out. He's got a couple of medics there with about 8 marines, and his engineering base is almost finished. So really, sAviOr went for his spire pretty fast there. Without, if he got any faster, he would have sacrificed the expansion and given the advantage to Iris. So even going pretty much as fast as he could without sacrificing the resource lead, his spire is still not up. While Iris's medic and marine group is on the way to his base, which I'm sure sAviOr knows. Well, actually, sAviOr doesn't know that that group is on its way. He's also got a couple of fire bats here, so sAviOr really has no defense against this. And as I said before, this is the mistake that I've seen Zergs make too often against Terrans, is that they get beaten too often by this medic and marine rush, which I find very, very annoying because it's gay and boring, and doesn't require, in my opinion, a lot of strategy to execute. The problem with this map again is because sAviOr chose to take these expansions, he therefore did not build a hatchery at his choke, the entrance to his base, the neutral buildings, which are now being taken down by Iris, and so he's only able to build a creep colony. And even if he built a wall of creeps in his main, Iris is still going to get in and take out his main with that army. Take out his expansions with that army, because so sAviOr would have to defend 3 points simultaneously because of the way this map is laid out. So and you can see here Iris is basically waltzed into sAviOr's base. He's got his mutalisks up, and he's trying to pincer the medic and marines with his mutalisks, and obviously, and there goes down the Sunken. The Sunken is down. sAviOr trying to run his drones away. He doesn't have enough mutalisks to take down that small group. He's managed to I think he managed to kill off the fire bats. I'm not sure if one of them went up north towards sAviOr's expansion. I don't think he did. But as you can see, sAviOr completely helpless here as his main is being ravaged by Iris's medic and marine force. And he's lost a number of drones. He's got no defenses at his lair. He's lost a lot of mutalisks in trying to take down that first medic and marine group, which sAviOr finally does successfully. But it's going to be a little too late, as Iris's second medic and marine group should be on its way. Okay, sAviOr sending up some speeded up Zerglings up towards Iris's base to intercept him, to try and intercept that medic and marine group, try and catch him off guard, thinking that Iris has invested a lot in that rush. But Iris really had his set up quite well, and you can see Iris moving his marines back there to block off the Zerglings, even though he didn't have a medic in that group, and the small group of sAviOr's Zerglings blocked off, unable to go anywhere. And now Iris is going to come down with the second medic and marine group. sAviOr has lost drones in that. He's lost a lot of his mutalisks. He's lost all the Zerglings that he built. So he's got about 4 mutalisks left to try and harass Iris into staying away from his main, which obviously he cannot do successfully. So I mean, you can give credit, and look there the mutalisks go. I think sAviOr at this stage is probably realizing the game is over. I'm surprised he hasn't given up yet. But he's probably thinking he might try and block, but the reality is that it's very, very difficult to block a medic and marine attack by Zerglings and mutalisks alone, unless you can outmaneuver them and come at them from 2 or 3 different directions at once, which obviously sAviOr is not going to be able to do, considering the nature of this map. And Iris has built up a substantial force there. sAviOr, as you can see, is trying to take down some of those neutral buildings, try and set up some additional maneuverability for his units. I fear it's all going to be in vain. I think that in terms of mistakes, the critical mistake sAviOr has made in this game, first of all, is that he didn't build a hatchery at his choke, at the entrance to his main, and as you can see, Iris with all those massed turrets, making sAviOr's Mutalisk harass pretty much ineffective. He's just going to try and take out some of those Marines here to try and keep Iris pinned back in his base, try and buy himself some time. Iris buying himself time, obviously, just to make sure he shores up his defenses so that sAviOr doesn't sneak in on the counter while he's in sAviOr's base. And as you can see here, sAviOr taking out more neutral buildings to try and get Iris from another angle, try and keep him busy in his base. And Iris already has a science vessel out, whereas all sAviOr has is a handful of Mutalisks and Zerglings. And sAviOr, I think, spotted that science vessel. So, I mean, even if sAviOr had a couple of lurkers at this stage, you know, Iris has his science vessels up and going, and he's going to be massing those science vessels, which is just going to make this game extremely tough for Zerg. I think the fact that Terran can fast expand on this map without exposing themselves to any risk of a rush is really the killer factor here, and is what makes the map so imbalanced, in my view. sAviOr just picking off a few straggling Marines there, and he's rushing up into Iris's base now. This is his only hope. He has to take this counter in, but Iris rushes back with he stims those Marines, he rushes back, he irradiates the Mutalisks, and sAviOr's counter really was pathetic there, and there was little he could do in that situation. He just didn't have the necessary units. Iris's defense was too good. sAviOr running away, he only escapes with 3 Mutalisks out of that attack, which leaves him pretty much with nothing to defend Iris's counter in turn, which is coming up right now. As you can see, sAviOr's expansions are undefended. He just doesn't have the resources to invest in defenses individually for those expansions, and his sAviOr's got a higher list den up, but I don't think he has any lurkers at this stage, and really you just cannot stop this kind of American Marine push without lurkers, or you had a sunken line. So sAviOr obviously, I just don't understand. I think sAviOr was banking on the fact that he would keep Iris bottled up in his base for a lot longer, by virtue of his Spire, but Iris's timing allowed it. Here we go. This is the final battle here, I think. sAviOr goes in with everything, and that battle was pathetic. It lasted about, what, 5 seconds? sAviOr getting completely owned and destroyed in this map. A real schooling in that matchup. But I believe that even though sAviOr made a couple of mistakes in that matchup, the real, you know, we have to give credit to, you know, even though sAviOr made a couple of mistakes, my own opinion is that the result here is because of the map, and not necessarily due to gameplay. I think a lot of choices were forced onto sAviOr because of the way the map is structured, and I really think it favored the Terran in this matchup, as we've seen time and time again in numerous videos. So once again, this is Klaz. Hope that commentary wasn't too boring for you guys, and I know I'm not the most insightful person when it comes to relating StarCraft in-depth strategy, but hopefully I've covered a few of the points there, in my opinion of the game. Thanks again for watching. This is Klazart.
아카노이드가 단 한 경기가 아니라 1.5경기 정도 파괴력으로 데미지나 마저는 패물을
Alright, so this is Klazart with another commentary. This is Game 2 of the OSL Season 3 semifinals between Iris and sAviOr on Reverse Temple. This is a great series in my opinion. I really enjoyed watching it. I remember when I was watching it, I must have had at least 6 or 7 orgasms just from the sheer excitement of it alone. And this, if I remember correctly, was actually a pretty good game. Okay, so we've got here sAviOr on the 2 o'clock position in teal playing Zerg, and you've got Iris at the 12 o'clock position playing Terran. So their bases are quite close to each other, and if you watch my previous commentary, you'll know that I said that I've observed that sAviOr usually scouts anti-clockwise with his Overlord, and you can see he's doing that again here, and this time it's going to work to his advantage, because he's going to find Iris' base pretty quickly, and he's going to be able to see what Iris is making. I think, unfortunately, you know, I think Zerg is, in terms of scouting capability, at a great disadvantage, because their Overlords can be killed quite easily, especially by Terrans once the Terrans get a couple of Marines up. And so while the Terran can use their comsat to scan a Zerg base at any time and see what's being built, the Zerg can't get into a Terran base as easily, you know, with very little risk to themselves. So I do think that Terran do have an advantage in that respect. Protoss obviously have their observers, and I suppose the disadvantage for Protoss in terms of scouting, again, is that observers, fairly high-level tech that they have to expend quite a few resources before they get it. So up to that point, the Terran can easily block off their base. And here you can see Iris starting to build a barracks. So he's building a barracks first. I'm not sure if he started a supply depot in his main, but he started building a barracks there. So he's blocking off his choke outside his expansion with a barracks. And at the same time, he sent out a second SCV to scout. Now sAviOr has moved his overlord across, and actually sAviOr, I just realized it now, sAviOr's actually missed Iris's base. sAviOr doesn't know that Iris's base is right next to it. As you can see, sAviOr has started a hatchery here, his natural expansion. So this is really very critical here. sAviOr moved his overlord towards Iris's base, and because their bases were so close together, his overlord actually got there in time. And as you can see here, you can see on sAviOr's first-person view mode that he actually has no clue where Iris is, because he sent his overlord in the right direction, and Iris actually hadn't sent an SCV out to build anything at that stage, because obviously sAviOr naturally, this is actually an example of why being too good a player can actually work to your disadvantage. You can see there sAviOr started his spawning pool after his first hatchery, and he hadn't started his second hatchery at that point. So he's also sent a drone to scout southwards because he didn't find Iris's base up in the 12 o'clock position. So as I said, this is an example of how being too good can actually work to your disadvantage, because sAviOr did not send his overlord all the way into Iris's base. He just scouted the expansion area, the natural expansion area of the 12 o'clock base, assuming that that's where Iris would build with his choke, which he did, but sAviOr went too quickly. And Iris now just sends a couple of Marines down. He's seen sAviOr's expansion. I wonder if he's going to try and do a bunker here. No, he pulled back. He's got a couple of Marines and a couple of SCVs, and he's pulled back. sAviOr started off a third hatchery, and that is also in his natural next to the hatchery he's just already built there. Iris starting up an extractor to get some gas. It's also starting up his academy, which will give him the comsats. sAviOr's got his first lings out, group of 6 lings. Make that 8 lings, and Iris has obviously seen that. He sends one ling off after the scouting SCV, and the other lings are going to circle around the center of the map. Okay, he's bringing them back up now, because he's realized where Iris's base is. So I think he had thought that the base was down in the 6 o'clock position from a process of elimination, but I think he just realized that he missed that with his scout. So even though he scouted correctly in the beginning, he didn't get the advantage that scout should have offered him, and Iris obviously has walled off his choke. So sAviOr really has no information on what's going on inside Iris's base, because he doesn't have an overlord near it, and the choke is blocked off to sAviOr's units from coming inside. Iris's academy is almost complete, and behind that choke, I just want to have a look again behind that choke, see what he's building there. sAviOr now sending his overlord back towards Iris's main, and you can see Iris has blocked off that choke there, so, and he's fast expanded as well. So sAviOr's got his 2 hatcheries up. He hasn't built any sunkens as of yet, so and he started his lair tech, so I guess he's anticipating that Iris is not going to try and do a medic and marine rush here. But Iris does have a medic. He's building another barracks in his base, so Iris will probably try and pressure sAviOr here a little bit, maybe force him into making a few sunkens. But right now he's content to sit there behind his choke. I think this is a fun map. I think it makes for a few interesting strategies. It's certainly a lot more open than Arachnoid, and as you can see that okay, so Iris has got his medic and marine group up with his firebat and his medic, which sAviOr has seen with that Zergling he placed outside. That was a great move. Unfortunately, that's the kind of tactics Zergs have to resort to in order to scout and get information. sAviOr now starting up his spire in his main. His lair tech is just completed, and Iris just warding off that group of Zerglings. He doesn't want to get flanked by them. sAviOr has now built a couple of sunkens in his base, so he's been forced to spend some resources on that, since sAviOr did build that, and I think considering the fact that he got burned in the first game of this series by Iris's medic and marine attack, sAviOr is not gonna risk that happening again, giving Iris an easy win. So he's built a few sunkens or whatever to try and stop that. Iris doesn't really have much to break the sunken line since he fast expanded, but he is building up a substantive medic and marine force. Now he's also got his engineering bay up, because we all know sAviOr likes to go around with his Mutalisks and harass. So really, not building an engineering bay is pretty suicidal against sAviOr. And Iris with the comsat again spots sAviOr's Spire in his main, so he will not have to waste another comsat on the expansion to try and see what sAviOr's tech is if sAviOr had built the Spire there. And he's just moving out with his Medic and Marine Force and his Fire Bats, and I think sAviOr's playing it very clever here. He's keeping by keeping those Zerglings there. He's creating a flank, and therefore Iris can't just go straight to his sunken line. sAviOr pulling back the Zerglings now. He's got 4 sunkens up, so you can see that last loss on Arachnoid really stung sAviOr hard, and he's built 4 sunkens this time. So that's going to be more than enough to ward off any attempt by Iris to break that. 4 sunkens are just too much. I don't think I've really seen a 4 sunken line broken very often by just Medic and Marines. So not much happening in terms of action at this stage. Both players kind of setting themselves up. sAviOr's got his Mutalisks up now, so he's going to try and do some harassing, and we'll see how effective that is in a second. Iris, meanwhile, has moved his Medic and Marine Force back to just outside his base. You get the feeling he's going to try and maybe put up a second command center, take that mineral only outside his base, which he isn't doing just yet. And here we go. sAviOr's going in with his Mutalisks, and he picks off a Marine there, picks off an SCV as well that was building a turret. And this is the thing about this map. It's very hard to have, even though Iris had his engineering bay up and he's built a couple of turrets, it's very hard to kind of protect your base effectively all over because of the way the map is structured. And sAviOr just firing away at the machine shop on that Terran factory, and that's very useful if you can get that down, because that's going to slow down Iris's tech and slow down his tank tech, which is going to give sAviOr the time he needs to build defilers. Iris, in turn, has decided to try and force sAviOr out of his base by sending his Medic and Marine group along with a couple of Fire Bats down towards sAviOr's base. And sAviOr's got a second group of sAviOr's got his Mutalisks. He's got a second group of Mutalisks, which he's going to merge with his first now, just outside Iris's natural expansion. And he's bunched them all together, and this really requires a lot of skill and execution to pull off. And he's picked up another Marine there. I don't think Iris has killed a single Mutalist. sAviOr's taken about 2 or 3 Marines out. He's got his Zerglings wandering around outside, and that machine shop is finally up for Iris. And sAviOr just really picking off kind of SCVs at ease here without much competition from Iris, and that machine shop is coming under fire, and Iris has absolutely nothing there to defend. He's got no Marines. He's got a tank that's popped out. That tank is going to go down. You can see the positioning of the turrets on the hill above is not enough to protect that base, and that machine shop is burning, and it probably is going to burn to be destroyed unless Iris repairs it. And there it goes, the machine shop is gone. So Iris, I don't think, has completed his siege tech, because the machine shop only was put up a short while ago, and that's really going to slow Iris down, because he's got no way to break sAviOr's sunken line. And sAviOr, you can see, he's got his Queen's Nest up, he's got a few lurkers ready. So Iris at the moment has, and I think this is probably, that was the key, that destruction of that machine shop was probably the key moment, the key turning point for my view in this game thus far, because without the machine shop, Iris is way behind on his siege tech, and he needs the siege tech to break sAviOr's sunken line, and sAviOr's just bought himself a whole load of time. Iris hasn't started the second machine shop. He started the machine shop back up again. sAviOr, meanwhile, is teching to hive. So sAviOr doing all the right things so far. He's also put a few lurkers down at the 6 o'clock natural expansion, because he's building a hatchery there. So sAviOr always likes to take that extra hatchery for the gas, because endgame Zerg play is very gas heavy. He's also building a 5th hatchery inside his main. Really, sAviOr kind of does have map control at the moment, we can say, because he's got lurkers, and he's sending a group of 4 lurkers now towards Iris's natural. He's just buried them on the way there, and he continues to harass with the Mutalisks, and sAviOr is doing a great job so far of keeping Iris blocked up in his own base, stopping him from going around outside. And you can see the hatchery's up there at the 6 o'clock base for sAviOr, and he's putting up a gas extractor. Iris has got his machine shop running. He's got a tank out, and you can see he's built a couple more turrets now to cover that machine shop, which he didn't have before. He's also got a science vessel out, so now he finally has the necessary bits and pieces that he needs to take down sAviOr's sunken line with the siege tank and the science vessel. Although the science vessel isn't 100% necessary, it helps a lot. and Iris spots those 3 lurkers burrowed on the path. And really, the purpose of these lurkers is just to kind of slow slow Iris down, so that he can't just rush straight all the way to sAviOr's sunken line. And sAviOr now he's going to try a pincer move here. He's brought his forces together, and he's allowed Iris to go to his sunken line, to almost a sunken line. Again, Iris has to siege those tanks, you know, and this is all buying time because Iris sieges. And sAviOr, oh my god, sAviOr's going to go into Iris's base now. He's going in from the side, and there's a few Marines there without any medics, and they're just going to get completely owned by the Zerglings. And sAviOr's just rushing in, even though he's taking it. sAviOr's got his lurkers burrowed. The tank goes down. There's a bunker there. Iris did prepare for this, but sAviOr's got enough this time to break that. Meanwhile, his lurkers are holding outside of his base, and sAviOr's now got lurkers burrowed inside sAviOr's ramp leading from his main to his expansion, and a bunch of SCVs are going through the ramp now, and they're going to get taken out. Oh my god, sAviOr just killed it on 25 SCVs, 20 SCVs, all of the SCVs in Iris's natural expansion just got taken out from the lurkers that sAviOr burned at the ramp. sAviOr had also killed Iris's science vessels with those scourges while Iris was pushing, so you can see action happening at both ends, and this is really a showcase of multitasking. sAviOr has lost one of his sunkens, but Iris is still held up. He's got his defiler mount up, and Iris's base is in tatters at this stage. He's got a science vessel. His first science vessel was taken out, which slowed Iris and again bought sAviOr more time to get those defilers up, and we can see that basically whatever army Iris has got outside sAviOr's base is the army he's going to have. It's going to be very difficult for him to clear out all those lurkers. sAviOr's got lurkers buried at his ramp. He's got them buried inside his main. So Iris is now not getting any resources, which makes it very difficult for him to make any units. But as we know, Terrans are great at doing a lot with, and now Iris finally moves in. He's taken out those, and sAviOr's defiler just consuming there. Is he going to have the defilers irradiated? He's got a second defiler, and he pops out the swarm just in time. Oh my god, Iris broke the sunken line, and sAviOr's defiler consuming literally as Iris's army moved into his base. Couple of scourge kill there, and sAviOr holds off Iris's attack, and so basically for me that's GG right there. You know, sAviOr's got defilers. Iris does not have reinforcements. There's no way he's going to be able to break sAviOr's defense. His own base is in tatters. sAviOr just sending a few scourges out, trying to take that last science vessel down. Obviously, Iris incapable of making any, and he's lost the command center as his main. So I don't see any point of this Iris continuing this game anymore. But I think he's trying to hold out, hoping that if he can break. So he did manage to build a couple of science vessels with whatever resources he had saved up. So I guess he's just hoping that if he can get into sAviOr's main somehow with the force that he does have, then that's going to do the trick with the irradiates again. Okay, there goes one science vessel. That was pretty good by sAviOr. He set up a swarm. He sent in the Zerglings, and while the Marines were killing the Zerglings, sAviOr picked off a science vessel with the Scourge. So again, I think Zerg requires a lot of micro multitasking to be able to pull off these combined attacks with different kinds of units to be effective in any way whatsoever. Which is why, even though some people might disagree, I think it's a very difficult race to play well. And really, sAviOr now has the luxury, because he's got that base in the south, and this is GG. So I think sAviOr obviously had the luxury of throwing units at Iris once that. So really, there were two key points in that game there between sAviOr and Iris. The first, I think, was the destruction of the machine shop, which bought sAviOr the time and slowed Iris significantly. And the second, obviously, being sAviOr's counter into Iris's main when Iris went for his push. And that was a brilliant bit of maneuvering and strategy by sAviOr. Iris did sort of plan for it, but his defenses weren't enough. sAviOr had enough lurkers and Zerglings and units. Again, all as a result of the factor of extra time he had from his excellent Mutila's Harass slowing Iris down, and that brings the series to a 1-1. Really, really enjoyable game, and you can see that a map like this makes for a much more fun game than fucking shitty gay-ass Neo-Arachnoid. So this is Klazart again. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoy that.
그 저그가 힘든 맵에서는 마재훈 선수가 전적 다 채워주고 있어요.
네. 자, 변형태 첫 번째 경기 잡아냈습니다만 두 번째 경기 분위기는 좋았는데 전형적으로 항복선을 받아내지 못했고, 이제 세 번째 경기 롱기더스에서 원점으로 경기를 돌린 가운데 세력 경기를 치러야 됩니다. 마재훈, 리버테플 온갖 악재들은